Hi and welcome to the third episode of this tutorial where we build a flight booker using Narratory. And to just get a little recap, in the previous two episodes we built the foundation of a bot so that you can now start a dialogue with it and both answer that you want to book a flight. It's going to ask you where you want to go to, Paris. But you can also provide where you want to go right away. So you can say, I want to go to Paris, in which case it's not going to ask this question. And this was implemented using a conditional in Narratory like this. Now, the next step here is to then allow users to also say upfront where they want to go from and how many tickets that they want to buy. So we're going to replicate this query destination bot turn. We're going to just copy paste it like this and rename it query departure instead. And now you might see that we're going to actually have a little bit of a conflict here, since we can't really have the same city entity twice. So we actually have to use this city entity twice. And how are we doing that? Well, instead of calling our entity city, we can actually rename it to toCity, which then allows us to also have a from city. So toCity will be used to then get the destination city, whereas from city is the departure city. And then we have to provide these new names in the examples here as well. So I'm going to change this to toCity. And of course we have to now add more examples. This is typically how it works. If you add more entities, then you have to add more combinations of examples where you include or not include these new entities. It's very likely that some people are going to state only the toCity, and in some cases they might say also the from city. They might even say only the from city in some cases. So what I did now is I just copied this, and I can actually copy it. Let's see, one more of these. No, okay, 6 should be enough. So we're going to keep this one as it is, these two, and here we're going to add from city instead. Like that. And on this third type, we're gonna add the from city as well. So this would allow 3 different ways of saying this. Of course, there's a machine learning model built on top of these, so you don't have to say exactly these phrases. So now we're done with the intent for book flight, but we also have to make a correction on the state city, where we can't really use, well, we can actually use city here if we want to, but it makes more sense to use toCity here as well, and to do it like that. toCity. And we're actually going to need, since we replicated these 2 bot turns, we're going to have a state toCity up here and a state from city down here. So let's copy this, or we can rename it first. So state toCity. Copying that, calling it from city instead, renaming it here, and we're not going to have 2 naturally, we're going to have from instead. And we're also going to allow them to only say the city like that. So now we have two intents that hopefully will work, and we're going to, in this first one, we're going to use then the state to city. Alright, and we can actually see that we also have to change the condition here and this bot utterance where we are repeating the whatever the user said. So we're going to add 2 up here, and we're going to add it here as well. And now we should be ready with this bot turn. So moving on to query departure, here we're going to use from city instead, and we're going to use the new intent that we just built, state from city, and we're going to use it here as well. And of course we have to change this question as well, so we can use from there instead. Where do you want to go from? And now we can add this query departure to our narrative, and why not run it? So Narratory start, and since I don't like to just keep you waiting, I will prepare our next stage, which will be query tickets. Meanwhile, like that. So let's see here. Hi there, do you want to book a flight? I want to go to Paris from Stockholm. Alright, good for now. So here we filled in both slots, so that works. And we run chat, and I can show you that you can actually pre-prompt here if you want. So you could say, I want to go to Paris. And then it's going to ask this question, where do you want to go from? Berlin to Berlin. To Berlin, got it. Okay, interesting. So we must have done a mistake here. Yeah, we can see that here we actually need to use from as well. But it seems to work otherwise. We've already tested that it works up here, go to Paris, so we don't have to test that this logic works up here. So now let's add tickets, and tickets is then when the user states how many people that are traveling. Tickets might not be the best name here, but we're going to use it anyway. So tickets, if tickets is not set, and then we're gonna say how many people are traveling, and well, I can just write it all again here. So we have then only one user turn, which will have the intent. Well, we don't really have it yet, but it might be called state number of tickets. Oops, that's not going to work with a space there, and then we can prepare this as well. So actually, let's actually call this number of tickets instead, and be consistent here. From number of tickets, it's not from, of course. So we can say number of tickets, people, lovely. Then of course if people say we're 2 people, it's going to say 2 people, lovely. And this doesn't exist yet, so let's head over and create it. State no tickets. Alright. So a const state no tickets, number of tickets. It's an intent as well, right? And here for entities we're going to let's see. We're going to use another built-in entity for numbers, and it's called number integer. So these it wouldn't include fractions. You wouldn't order 1.5 tickets, for example. Examples would be here. For example, we are number tickets, and also maybe we would say number of tickets people, or we might say only number of tickets. So this would work for our query tickets form filling state here, but we haven't actually added it yet to the book flight intent up here. So let's go and do that as well, because there's no tickets up here. So what we will do is we will copy the number of tickets entity, and we will just paste it in here, and then we have to add it to a few examples. So I will copy this one and add number of tickets there, and maybe we can use this one as well for number of tickets people, and we can take, well, let's be consistent here. Let's grab all these for number of tickets people. So that should be a good start. Number of tickets, you're probably not going to say I want tickets too. You're going to say I want 2 tickets. So let's do it like that instead. Okay, so now we've added that. So we have this entity both in the top book flight intent, but we also have it down here. So the only thing missing now is to link up this bot turn to our narrative, which we again do by doing query tickets down here. And then let's head over here and run it. Okay, so I want to book 2 tickets to Paris. Where do you want to go from? From Berlin. So that seems to have worked. It asked how many tickets. No, we filled in how many tickets, so it asked only for the departure city here. And then we can also try to not say how many tickets, right? So we will use I wanna fly to Paris, and then from Berlin, and then see where we end up. So now you see it's pre-populating the first and the second one. You have to use quotes here for sentences, otherwise it's gonna think that each word is its own sentence, which you likely don't want. So how many people are traveling? We are 4 people, lovely. So that shows that we actually have a working slot filling chatbot now using these 3 data points. So the next step is to build a confirmation state, and we will call it summary, and it's again a bot turn. And what we're going to do is that we're going to repeat what the user has booked at this point. So we will start by saying number of tickets to, and then we had to city, right? From city, and then we will say, is that correct? And we will start by adding a yes and no here, and then we will allow people to also change their mind here. So we will start then by adding user, an array, and we paste in our 2 user terms from above. And so what we can do here is that we can introduce a new concept that we haven't seen before, and it's called repairs. Because what we want to do here is to, if the user says yes, we just want to move on, because that is, there's no need to do anything else then. But if the user says no, well, in that case something is wrong. So we probably want to ask, okay, what do you want to change? And we will start by adding a special flag to this bot turn here saying repair true. And now what this does is that it tells the system to stay in this bot turn to repair the turn. Whereas the normal case, if you don't have this, or if you would put false, which is the same as not including it at all, then you would simply move on from the bot turn once you don't have any more user turns. But in this case, we don't want to see IC. We want to say, oh, I must have gotten it wrong. What do you want to change? And so basically, for now, this doesn't really do much good. But once we add the ability to change any of these parameters in this bot turn, then this follow-up question will play an important role here. So let's build it now. And the good thing about these intents that we already built, the state from intent and the state to, is that we can actually reuse them in this bot turn almost straight away. So we will just run this first and make sure that. So do you want to book a flight? Yes. Paris, Berlin. How many people are traveling? Three people. Lovely. Goodbye for now. Okay. So then I'm guessing we forgot to put it in here. Of course we did. Right. So I will actually paste this in instead of just running it with a yes and no, because you'll just have to trust me that it works. So we will also take the state 2 bot user turn here, and we will add it here as well. And what we could do in this case is we could have saved this as a variable, and so we don't have to copy paste code. But I think that it actually makes sense to not use the same reply here. So the bot will say 2 tickets to Paris from Berlin, is that correct? And then the user is gonna say no, I want to go to Stockholm. So then a good reply might be, oh, I see, to Stockholm it is. And then we can add a similar reply here to the state from, where we say, oh, okay, from city then. So I do foresee a slight problem here though, because both of these intents now have a to city and a from city that doesn't have any other keywords, which means that if you say, for example, Paris here, it won't really know if you are going to Paris or if you're flying from Paris. So this is a fix that we will have to make. But we will continue doing that in the last tutorial where we wrap everything up. For now, let's also, oh yeah, we can also add this, because you might also change your mind about the number of tickets. Here we will add another answer. We will say, I see you are, or you want number of tickets. And we might actually, in all of these three cases, it might actually make sense to ask, to kind of stay in this state until people say yes, because they might want to change something else. And to do that, we simply convert all of these answers to bot terms instead of strings, and we use this same repair flag. So that will keep us in this bot turn. So I will do the same down here. Add these curly brackets, the say, and then repair true, comma, and finally down here. And what happened here? Well, I'm using this automatic formatter called Prettier. I can really recommend it because it makes it makes it a lot easier to create code that is readable and easy to get an overview of. You can install it using you go to extensions in, where is it? Let's see. There, extensions on view, and then you write Prettier and you install it. It's already installed for me. And then you're using a key command called format document. What you can do is you go to view, command palette, and this shows all the different commands, the key commands that you have. And you can start writing format document, and you will see what key combination that is set on your computer. I've actually changed this because I'm used to another type of editor, but I think it's Control-Shift-P or something as default. And this one will actually automatically format your code in a very nice way. So if you would have written it like this, you press format, it will put it on a new row. It's quite opinionated, but if you buy into the structure, then it saves a lot of time. So with that little detour, we can again run our bot and see if we have managed to crack this already. Hopefully we have, with this ambiguity with the city that we had to fix. So we will try to fill in the slots right away. So I want to go to Paris from Berlin for 2 people. So then we get to the confirmation, and now we will say no from, let's see, from Stockholm. It says, oh, I must have gotten it wrong. What do you want to change? Oh, that's not ideal. Okay, let's try to Stockholm instead. So that worked, and then we can try. No, we are 4. That also didn't work. No, 4 people. 4 people. I see. You want 4 tickets. Okay, so the NLU was a bit picky here. It accepted to Stockholm, but not no from Stockholm. So let's go over and see why that is. So state to city, we go here. we can see that what we said was no from Stockholm, and it seems like adding no here makes the classification fail. So then we can consider, maybe we can add no here and reuse it so that we can use the same intent in two places. The implication of that would be that if you get this question here, where do you want to go to, and you say no to Paris, that will then classify it to Paris. That's not really a problem in this case, so we can probably just add the example here, no to city, and we can add it also to the going to city. We will do the same down here. We will add no from city, and we will add it to going from city, like that. And what didn't work here for tickets, it was the same thing. No, we are not tickets. No, no tickets, people. And we should probably also add tickets here. I don't know why I didn't add that before. No, tickets, that. Okay, so with that done, we can rebuild it. I will actually clear here so you can see a bit better. Okay, so now we will try to, again, just fill the slots to Stockholm from Paris for 2 people. So that worked, and then now we will say no from Paris. Oh no, we already had that. No from Berlin. Okay. We will also try going to LA, maybe. Los Angeles it is. Okay. And then we will say we are 3. We want 3 tickets. So now we can see that it actually works. But we only remember to put this. I thought we put that question somewhere. We actually didn't do that. We just added the repair flag. So what we can do is we can add another question here. Otherwise, we are good. And then here we could say, does it sound good otherwise? Everything else is good. And that will actually make it easier for the user to understand that they have to then say yes in order to move to the next state or the next bot turn. Now in the next and final part of this series, we will deal with the ambiguity problem here with cities, and just to simulate what I mean again. If we write Narratory chat and then we fill in all the slots, so I want to fly to Paris from LA for 2 people, and then we just say New York here. Then now it's going to assume from New York, but if we write Stockholm, now it assumes we're going to Stockholm. So it's arbitrary here, which is typically not a good idea. So we will deal with that in the next and final episode, and we will also wrap everything up and possibly look at extensions and next steps of this tutorial. So thank you so much for listening, and see you next time.